Charter School, empowering leaders of multicultural communities. Elm Charter School serves scholars in grades 6 to 12 in Elmhurst, Queens, New York. At Elm, we believe that through self-exploration, interdisciplinary community studies, and emergent bilingualism, our scholars will be equipped to become transformational leaders, empowered to serve in any community, and to disrupt their single story. I would love to introduce to you one of our own scholars, Julia Ramos, as she takes you through her experience at Elm in her 6th and 12th grade years.
Hola, soy Julia Ramos, and I'm a 6th grade student here at Elm Charter School. I'm Mexican and Ecuadorian. I love to play soccer, spend time with my family, and draw. I love school, but I've always been very shy, and that's because I really struggle with reading. My teachers tell me I'm an emergent bilingual, but that just means that I can become fluent in 2 languages. Can you imagine that? Me knowing 2 languages. Let me show you how my school supports me in my endeavor to becoming a community leader.
These are my teachers. A typical week for me at Elm Charter School looks like this. I have A days and I have B days. One of the things I love about my school is that I have a humanities block and I have a STEM block. That means that I get to spend over 2 hours each day in these classes. Currently, in our humanities block, we are learning about the Mexican migration and the push-pull factors in immigration. My mom is from Mexico, so I feel lucky to have context over a topic such as this. One of the things that is a little difficult for me in this class is that some of the vocabulary words in English are difficult for me to understand. I feel really lucky that I have Mr. Kennedy, who pushes into my humanities class. He pulls me with a small group, and we work to understand the vocabulary that Mr. Ulloa, my humanities teacher, teaches, and we take these vocabulary words and we create visuals that help me understand. My table group also helps me understand words that I don't understand by translating for me when I need it and by repeating words. I'm still a little afraid that I'll get left behind, but I know that at the end of every day, I have an intervention block with Mr. Kennedy where he will support me one-on-one. Here's Mr. Kennedy now.
I have the pleasure of being Julia's emergent bilingual teacher. Co-planning can be challenging, but our principal, Ms. Cohen, scheduled our planning time so that we have common preps with both humanities and STEM teachers. Pushing into the classroom gives me multiple opportunities to scaffold materials and skills while still allowing Julia to participate in class projects. She is working on a project with her group about Mexican immigrants and the reasons why Mexicans migrate to the United States. I helped her prepare questions for an interview with her grandmother as part of her evidence. Julia has room to grow before she can successfully pass her English proficiency exam, and we believe in her.
So this week we're finishing up our module on immigration. We've learned so much about the history of America through the lens of different groups. To show we understand the module, we'll complete a performance task and present our argument on pollution and the effects it has on immigration. Ms. Ulloa has helped my group understand each part of the performance task rubric. But I'm still a little bit nervous about the question and answer section, but she assured me that she will pull me out tomorrow and we'd work on it in a mock presentation. Here's Ms. Ulloa now.
It has been amazing watching our scholars make connections between the STEM and humanities blocks. One of our students, Tenzin, today made a connection between our Earth Science unit on acid rain and our humanities unit on climate change and pollution. Julia expanded on that, describing how acid rain negatively affects farms and fields, which then causes different people groups to migrate. I was really proud of her. I'm glad that our schedule allows time for me to meet with my cluster STEM teacher as well as the emergent bilingual teacher. We're intentional about making sure that we connect across subjects, particularly with vocabulary and terminology we use. Mr. Kennedy ensures alignment because he travels with all the scholars, so I'm very grateful for him. Today, though, I noticed that Julia was struggling with her confidence in speaking. So I touched base with Principal Khan, who also happens to be Julia's self-exploration advisor. Here's Principal Khan now.
As the principal, I also serve as Julia's advisor in her self-exploration class. I love this part of my day because I get the chance to learn more about our scholars and to create a space where they feel comfortable engaging in conversations around their fears, their passions, race, ethnicity, and language. At the end of the year, I can see how scholars' exploration of themselves and others applies to the global community when they connect their learning with their field studies. For example, scholars engage in a field study at the Jewish Heritage Museum through their humanities class. Then, they apply the question, how does my own identity impact the way I view a different group of people from our self-exploration curriculum? At Elm, we believe that scholars should have a choice in how they demonstrate their learning. I'll let Julia tell you more about how she does this in self-exploration class.
I love that I get the opportunity to engage in self-exploration every day. We have discussions about how our identities impact the way in which we interact with other people. I've chosen to make a collage, inspired by Frida Kahlo, to demonstrate my reflections on the question, how does my identity affect how I interact with people similar to and different from me? Before this class, I never thought about how my identity as a Mexican and an Ecuadorian affected the way in which I interacted with other people. I have begun to embrace who I am because of the space that Ms. Khan has created for us.
It has been wonderful to watch Julia grow from the time I taught her in 6th grade to watching her enter the building this year as a 12th grader. Being a 6th through 12 school has really benefited scholars like Julia to have a consistent, supportive, and brave space to learn and grow. Let's take a closer look at how many aspects of Julia's day and life in her 12th grade year have changed. Julia has successfully exited out of our emergent bilingual program, though we do continue to support students who have not. She has immersed herself in content-specific classes that support her in successfully completing her Regents exams. These days, Julia has also taken a deeper interest in science and attends STEM Lab. Let's hear from Julia's STEM teacher now.
Hi, I'm Miss Kim. So in STEM Lab, Julia is having an opportunity to be able to connect her mathematical and scientific learnings. In this class, we take learnings from humanities, such as the history of energy use and waste, and apply it to classroom activities. Julia loves working with her lab partners and really enjoys testing their hypotheses. Julia has also taken on the role of a peer tutor, in which she takes on a middle school scholar who is new to Elm and helps that scholar acclimate to the environment. It's really beneficial that Julia speaks Spanish as does this scholar, and she sees the impact that having so much in common with this scholar has on their education. All of this programming would not be possible without our interdisciplinary studies coordinator, Ms. Khan. Here she is now.
I've coordinated interdisciplinary field studies since Julia was in 6th grade. I collaborate with teachers on PD Fridays, and we make sure we plan our trips so that they're connected to the curriculum. Now, Julia is a senior. She's able to individualize her own field study experience through a community internship with one of our partners. On A days, I meet with Julia to discuss her progress toward her internship goals, and on B days, Julia gets to travel to her site.
I'm so grateful for the field studies that I've experienced here at Elm. Last year, we even got to go to Ecuador, my father's home country. We learned about the maternal health and got to examine how Ecuador has a system that reduces maternal mortality. This trip inspired me to study medicine when I go to college next year. Now this year, as a senior, I get to choose my own internship. Twice a week, I go to Elmhurst Hospital and I volunteer on B days. When I'm not volunteering, I get to meet with my teachers on A days, which allow me to reflect and connect my learning. I know that my dad is really proud of me, so here he is now.
As I look back on my daughter's years at Elm Charter School, I appreciate the space Elm provided for her to embrace my family's history, to understand the role that her identity plays in the community, and to develop a critical awareness of how society may view her as a child of immigrants and as an emerging bilingual. I never imagined that I would see so much of our culture reflected in her schooling, not only in her self-exploration, but also in her interdisciplinary studies courses. I am so proud of the young woman that she has become.
Being a transformational leader requires that I know who I am. because it impacts the way that I will ultimately work alongside the communities that I lead. At Elm Charter School, I learned to lead through self-exploration, interdisciplinary community studies, and embracing the fact that I am an emergent bilingual. I am Elm Charter School. I am an empowered leader of a multicultural community, and I am proof that in diversity there is beauty and there is strength.
Sure. Julia. Great job. I think first off, the feedback that you got is like we didn't hear you speaking until the very end. We heard you speaking initially, and like the story. So props to the scriptwriter. It like felt really authentic, and that like Julia is like really proud of who she is. So great job there. Brett, look up more when you're speaking. The way that I did this, our team did this, is we had literally giant note cards, but we also put our logo on the back of it, so it was like, I'm not just cheating, but it looks professional. But it enabled us to have like super large font and highlight those points that we wanted to emphasize, that kind of stuff. So take it as you like it. General feedback, and then I'll be quiet. There are graphics on each, there are at least 3, if not more, graphics happening on each of the slides. Not saying that it doesn't need to happen or that it can't happen, but thinking about like the organization on the slide, because the way that it comes across is a little sloppy. So like you'll have like a photo of a teacher and the schedule, but then you'll add another photo based on sort of what they're learning, and then another photo pops up on top of it. It just, from here, like I get the idea behind it, but from here it just isn't super visually appealing, so you might want to just like reorganize or shift it. But overall, really great job. Last piece of feedback, the final slide before this, and it might be applicable to ones even prior to, it might just be helpful to make the black font white so it pops. So there's, right, like that green, I have no idea what that's actually, the orange, green, and blue, like that font. And it'll just sort of pop out.
Yeah, I did the same thing, Dylan. I had the same, the dark green, it just makes me a little bit nervous. I think the black with the light blue and the black and orange is probably gonna be okay, but the black with the dark green, and that was actually the beginning too. When you're, I think it was like maybe your second slide with the schedule, the dark green. I couldn't totally, I also like when I have very bad vision, but it just made me a little nervous, that's all. I love the music, I love the positive framing in the video. Like you guys clearly put work into that, and it shows. As Lander said, I love how you guys split the voice of the student. Actually, Vanessa, I know we talked about this, but I think the one little tweak I would make is Christina speaks and then you speak. I would say just start with, as a student, because you and I had talked about it, I knew that you were the student or a student, but I think to give everyone in the audience context, just start with, I mean, that's just what came to mind, was like, as a student at, and then be like, oh right, she's another, either they think you're another student or the same student, actually probably doesn't matter because you're still conveying the same information.
Okay.
Agree with Lander on the note cards. Rachel, can I see what yours? I can read hers from here, like from her notebook, because she wrote them so beautifully big. So I echo what Lander said, like the font is really big, and then she even put spaces in to help her slow down, and I would really recommend that too. We're saying this because I know you guys weren't in here earlier, so I'm sorry for the folks who are repeating too.
Size 18 font.
Yeah, there we go. I love, this is content, but I'm going to say it anyway, I love that your principal still works with students for part of the day. That's something near and dear to my heart. I think as leaders, we want to stay close to our kids when we have the opportunity to, and I think it really helps you stay grounded. I love the mural. I don't remember that before.
Yeah.
That's new, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And that's it. Nice job, guys.
Yeah, here's time.
Rach?
11:30.
Okay. Ray, do you have anything?
No, I think you guys like made the appropriate changes, and you even made the change on the last slide where I was like, it's kind of busy. Like I think the senior project one, like there's no schedule behind it. It's just the picture. So I like it. My only question is how long was the video?
1 minute and 18 seconds.
Can I just say something? I didn't give credit where credit was due, and I completely forgot what I own that video was like super compelling to the point where like there was one time that Jill can attest to this. I was like, and I went like, so like great job.